Ambassador Zethkari's mandibles clicked in amusement as he gazed at the empty seat designated for the Terran representative. The Galactic Council's grand chamber buzzed with the usual pre-session chatter, a symphony of clicks, hums, and telepathic whispers from the 47 species that comprise the galaxy's governing body. "Still no word from the humans?" asked Councillor Vexitar, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's bioluminescent lighting. "It's been 6 cycles since we extended the invitation." "Perhaps they're still learning to read," suggested Ambassador Thorol, earning a chorus of what passed for laughter among the assembled delegates. His slug-like form rippled with mirth. After all, they only achieved faster-than-light travel last century. Most species need at least 5 centuries to develop proper diplomatic protocols. High Chancellor Morden called the session to order, his ancient voice carrying the weight of 1,000 years of galactic governance. The Terran seat remained conspicuously empty as the Council proceeded with the day's agenda: trade disputes, territorial boundaries, and the usual bureaucratic minutiae that kept 47 worlds functioning in relative harmony. "Before we adjourn," the Chancellor announced, "we should address the human situation. They've colonized 17 systems in the past 50 years, yet they've never acknowledged our authority or responded to our communications." "Typical primitive behavior," Ambassador Zethkari interjected. "They're probably too busy fighting amongst themselves to notice civilized society. My intelligence report suggests they still haven't achieved planetary unity." Councillor Vextar's form shimmered with agreement. "Perhaps we should impose standard compliance protocols. A trade embargo usually brings stubborn species to heel." "I concur," added Thorol. "Their silence shows contempt for galactic law. We've given them ample opportunity to join civilized society." The motion passed unanimously. Within hours, Galactic Council enforcement ships were moving toward the Outer Rim, where humanity's newest colonies dotted the star charts like defiant pinpricks of light. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the tactical display with practiced calm. The Galactic Council's fleet had arrived in the Kepler 442 system 3 days ago, demanding the immediate evacuation of all human settlements and recognition of Council authority. "Any word from Earth Command?" she asked her communications officer. "Same message, Captain. Maintain radio silence, execute Protocol 7 if threatened." Elena nodded grimly. Humanity had known this day would come eventually. For 70 years they'd watched the galaxy's established powers from the shadows, learning their languages, studying their technology, and most importantly, observing their weaknesses. The humans had never been silent. They'd been listening. Back in the Council chamber, emergency alerts began flooding in. The first came from the enforcement fleet at Kepler 442, complete communication blackout. Then Gliese 666 Sensi went dark. Then Proxima Centauri. "What's happening out there?" Chancellor Morden demanded, his ancient composure finally cracking. The answer came in the form of Admiral Sarah Chen, walking calmly through the chamber's main entrance. Her crisp naval uniform stood out starkly against the exotic forms of the assembled delegates. 2 human Marines flanked her, their presence causing ripples of shock throughout the chamber. "Honorable delegates," Admiral Chen said, her voice carrying clearly through the sudden silence. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Fleet. I apologize for our delayed response to your invitation." Ambassador Zethkari's mandibles quivered with indignation. "How dare you? This chamber is sacred. No uninvited species may—" "Actually," the Admiral interrupted smoothly, "according to Galactic Charter Section 47.3b, any spacefaring civilization may request emergency session privileges in cases of unlawful aggression. I believe threatening to destroy 17 of our colonies qualifies." The chamber erupted in chaos. Councillor Vextar's crystalline form flared with outrage. "Unlawful? You've ignored every attempt at contact. You've shown nothing but contempt for galactic law." Admiral Chen smiled, a predator's expression that sent chills through species who had forgotten what apex predators looked like. "Respectfully, Counselor, we've been listening to every word you've said for the past 70 years. Your invitation was preceded by intelligence-gathering missions that mapped our defenses, economic assessments of our resource value, and strategic discussions about the best methods to subjugate what you termed another primitive species. The silence that followed was deafening. We heard Ambassador Zethkari's proposal to sell our children as exotic pets to Altarian collectors, the Admiral continued. We recorded Thoral's suggestion that human neural tissue might make excellent biological computers. We documented every species assessment that rated humanity as manageable livestock. High Chancellor Morden's ancient voice wavered. If you were listening, why didn't you respond? Because, Your Honor, we learned long ago that actions speak louder than words. As if on cue, the chamber's viewing screens activated, displaying real-time images from across the galaxy. The Galactic Council's enforcement fleets hung motionless in space, surrounded by human vessels that had seemingly materialized from nowhere. Sleek, predatory ships that looked nothing like the crude vessels the Council's intelligence had reported. For 70 years you assumed our silence meant ignorance, Admiral Chen explained. While you debated our fate, we built. While you planned our subjugation, we prepared. While you mocked our primitive nature, we surpassed your technology. The tactical displays showed the truth in stark detail. Human ships moved with impossible grace, their stealth capabilities making them effectively invisible until they chose to reveal themselves. Energy signatures suggested weapon systems that outclassed anything in the Council's arsenal. This is impossible, whispered Counselor Vextar. Your species only achieved FTL a century ago. That's what we wanted you to believe, Admiral Chen replied. Amazing what you can accomplish when 47 civilizations provide detailed intelligence about their capabilities, weaknesses, and strategic doctrines. Thank you for the comprehensive education. Ambassador Zethkari's mandibles clicked frantically. What do you want? Recognition, Admiral Chen said simply. Not as subjects, but as equals. A seat at this table, earned through strength rather than begged for through subservience. And most importantly, a guarantee that humanity's sovereignty will be respected. And if we refuse? Chancellor Morden asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. Admiral Chen's smile widened. Then the galaxy learns what happens when you threaten humanity's children. Your enforcement fleets are currently at our mercy. Your homeworlds are within range of weapons you can't detect or defend against. And your 300 years of peace has left you soft, while our species was forged in millennia of warfare. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. 47 species, accustomed to dominance through bureaucratic maneuvering and economic pressure, faced a predator species that had spent decades preparing for this exact moment. However, the Admiral continued, her tone softening slightly, humanity prefers cooperation to conquest. We're willing to join your council as partners, sharing our knowledge and capabilities for the greater good of all species. High Chancellor. Morden looked around the chamber at his fellow delegates, seeing fear and calculation in their alien eyes. The choice was simple. Accept humanity as equals, or face a war they couldn't win against an enemy they'd underestimated completely. Very well, he said finally. The Council recognizes humanity's sovereignty and extends full membership privileges. Welcome to galactic civilization, Admiral Chen. As cheers and worried murmurs filled the chamber, Admiral Chen took her seat at the previously empty table. Humanity had finally joined the galactic community, not as subjects, but as the apex, predator they'd always been. The galaxy would never mock Earth's silence again,